Funding for Skyscraper was provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the financial support of viewers like you.
This is PBS. This evening's primetime quality programming is made possible in part through support provided by the Sayre Company of Guam, who are proud to support public television for our island community. The Sayre Company, distributors of Amana and other fine appliances. Guam's public television station, KGTF Channel 12, cordially invites you to attend our annual fundraising event, Come Sip With Us, on Friday, March 13th at 6 p.m. at Government House. This year, in addition to our regular wine and cheese reception, we will feature delicacies from around the world provided by community organizations. Share the taste of different foods from Japan, China, Korea, the Philippines, India, and many more at Come Sip With Us 1992. Friday, March 13th at 6 p.m. at Government House. Tickets may be purchased at the door or in advance at the KGTF studios in Manila. Don't miss Come Sip With Us 1992, made possible through the generous support of ST Corporation, Filipino Community of Guam, and the United Chinese Association.
You're watching Guam's public television station, KGTF in Agana, Guam.
Come see the light, come see the light. KGTF, PBS.
The following program, Masterpiece Theater, is made possible on Guam through funding provided by National Pacific Insurance, proud sponsors of quality television to our island community.
Tonight, on Masterpiece Theater, a stylish adaptation of Vita Sackville West's All Spent.
Mother dear, we are all concerned for your future.
I'm going to live by myself.
Impossible! What will people say?
I have considered the eyes of the world for so long that I think I deserve a little holiday from them.
A story of love and independence, found at the age of 85.
When can one please oneself, if not in old age?
Although I'd never been in love with a woman before or since, I fell in love with you then.
Remembering. That's something you do when you're old. Life becomes a landscape that one has crossed.
No one like you, Lady Singh.
I'm sure Mother's going to get herself into the most impossible muddle.
Dame Wendy Hiller stars in All Passion Spent, beginning tonight.
Masterpiece Theatre is made possible by a grant from Mobil Corporation, celebrating 20 years' support of PBS.
Good evening, I'm Alistair Cook. Of all the English women authors of the past, say, 2 centuries, the one we begin to celebrate this evening is, I should have guessed, the least likely to have ever been revived and admired again. Victoria, known as Vita Sackville West, was not by any stretch of the imagination a feminist, and her work couldn't be rejigged as they've done with Vera Brittain, even Jane Austen, to make her seem up to date. And though she was married to Harold Nicholson, the diplomat, author, member of Parliament, she took absolutely no interest in politics. Almost all her life, she lived close by the family mansion she'd been born in, a huge castle in Kent, 375 rooms, which an ancestor of hers had received as a gift from Queen Elizabeth I. And it was in that Kentish countryside that Vita Sackville West wrote her books, her poems, her novels, and indulged her lifelong passion for trees, shrubs, and flowers. I ought to say that she has been resurrected in the publishers' lists of this country, but only for her remarkable books on gardening. However, in 1931, she published a little jewel of a novel, All Passion Spent, in which she distilled the essence of the life of the sort of family she knew inside out. It begins with the death of an earl, Lord Slane, former Prime Minister, former Viceroy of India. He has left an 85-year-old widow and a clutch of predatory children and grandchildren. And the question is, who will take care of this regal, humorous, independent-minded woman? As we shall see, she has her own ideas. All Passion Spent, Episode 1.
All Passion Spent will return in a moment.
Masterpiece Theatre is made possible by a grant from Mobil Corporation.
We now return to All Passion Spent.
KGTF, PBS.
To make it specially. You'll have some more, won't you, Deborah?
When Victoria Sackville West published this novel in 1931, there must have been many people in Washington in their 60s, not much interested in current fiction, who said, Sackville West? Sackville West? I know that name. And if they thought long enough, so they did. Out of the mists of presidential politics in the 1880s would emerge the spectre of the only British ambassador ever to be handed his passport and told to go home. Just 100 years ago, in the election of 1888, the contestants were Grover Cleveland, the incumbent, and his Republican opponent, Benjamin Harrison. During the campaign, a naturalized Englishman in California wrote to the British minister in Washington. The United States did not then rate an embassy, wrote to him as a voter for advice. Which of the candidates would be most likely to advance British interests? The British minister, Sir Lionel Sackville West, an otherwise rational human being, wrote back, I think Mr. Cleveland would be the man. Turned out the naturalized Briton was not a naturalized Briton. At least he was a Republican. And 3 weeks before the election, the Republicans were delighted to publish Sackville West's letter from coast to coast. This domestic interference outraged many people, not least the Irish voters of New York City. New York State turned to be decisive in the election. Cleveland lost it. Benjamin Harrison was president. In the meantime, the State Department handed the papers to Sackville West and told him to pack. He was the grandfather of Victoria Sackville West. And ever since, British ambassadors on the eve of an election have tended to feel a sudden urge to vacation back home in England, or otherwise to be unavailable for comment. Alistair Cook, Masterpiece Theatre. Good night. Third, the final episode of Victoria Sackville West's All Passion Spent, which, if it had been written by Trollope, might have been called What Are We Going to Do with Lady Slane? An 85-year-old widow of a former Prime Minister, former Viceroy of India, who has refused to live with her children and rented a small house in suburban Hampstead. And there, last time, we saw her visited by a Mr. Fitzgeorge, a wealthy art collector. A stranger, she supposed, but he stirred her memory of a day 50 years before in Calcutta when, just before she married her earl, she had been greatly attracted by a young English traveler. He is Fitzgeorge. She remembers, and she acknowledges the emotion of that single moment. And now, she says, we can take up again a conversation interrupted by half a century, and we can become friends. We come in on a tea party she's giving for her gentleman landlord, for Fitzgeorge, and for the carpenter plasterer who had done her house over. All passion spent. Last episode.
Guam's public television station, KGTF Channel 12, cordially invites you to attend our annual fundraising event, Come Sip With Us, on Friday, March 13th at 6 p.m. at Government House. This year, in addition to our regular wine and cheese reception, we will feature delicacies from around the world provided by community organizations.